Welcome home for the holidays garden style. I have to thank Trish Bender and our membership crew and Sherry Lejeune and our virtual team for arranging this special afternoon of holiday cheer. We all know that this time of year is a time to come together, to pause, to reflect, and to express gratitude. So let's remember and thank our armed forces of the United States, our first responders, and our medical professionals who are dedicated to aiding and protecting our fellow citizens. As gardeners, we can honor them by preserving and conserving our natural resources, and also by being environmentally responsible. This is how we can plant America. And even during these months that are still uncertain, we continue to have to regroup, change plans. Our garden clubs across the country and globally are continuing to serve their communities and to impart that simple joy of gardening. On behalf of NGC, I ask you all to please keep our fellow states that suffered the horrific devastation of the tornadoes on Friday evening in your hearts, thoughts, and prayers. They need our support in the weeks and months to come. So during this holiday season, may you be blessed with the spirit of the season that is peace, the gladness of the season that is hope, and the heart of the season that is love. On behalf of National Garden Clubs, seed and grow the beauty of this holiday season. And in the spirit of kindness, may your days be filled with an abundance of peace and joy throughout the year. So to put us in the holiday spirit, Trish, why don't you start us out with a Christmas story?
Sure, Mary. Have you all known the book, Home for the Holidays Garden Club Style? Did you know that we had our own poem? I'm going to read you a little bit of it right now. 'Twas some weeks before Christmas, and all across the land, thousands of garden clubs were making it grand. In hospitals and hospices, schools and libraries, garland was hung with holly and berries. Historic mansions were decked out in period decor, while docents in costumes served coffee liqueur. On ladders and bucket trucks, South Carolina gardeners climbed, hanging those ornaments for a Christmas sublime. With swags on doorways and mailboxes and bows, nothing could stop Michigan, not even snow. In New Mexico, chilly ristas hung in the sunshine, while I prayed Susie and Shirley would send me mine. From Maine to Maryland, garden clubs were in gear, bringing holiday smiles to those far and near. From Utah to Oregon, Montana to Texas, garden club parties through Zoom connects us. From Chile and Uruguay, Brazil and Peru, international affiliates prepare tables for you. From New Jersey to Florida, California, Kentucky, gardeners were decorating, so happy-go-lucky. For Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, for solstice they blessed. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, to all of you the best. Thanks, Betty and Nancy, Christine and Jean, for decorating your town with flowers and greens. Thanks, George and Carl and Mark and Joe, for spreading the cheer wherever you go. Thanks to all of our members. We love what you do. And this holiday program is dedicated to you. So sit back and relax and turn up your dial as we bring you home for the holidays, Garden Club style. Sherry? asking where you find the recorded sessions. If you met us on our Membership Monday last month, those videos and Q&As were edited and posted it on gardenclub.org on the member resource page under member resources tab. So you'll find last month's video, and each month as we finish the video, we will post it on our membership resource page, and then we will send you an email saying, hey, it's there. So we hope you got your email. Those are also asking, how do you get invited to these things? Well, it's really easy. If you subscribe to the National Gardener, if you're a state president, a state membership chairman, any of those 3 categories will get you in our invitation list. So don't forget to go to gardenclub.org and subscribe to the National Gardener. If you read the social media page today, there was a link to subscribe to the National Gardener.
And now we're headed up to the northernmost state in the United States, to Maine, where we're going to learn all about President Harriet Robinson's wonderful slice of heaven.
The moon is setting over magnificent Mount Washington. The snow in the higher elevations will soon be here in the foothills. But for now, in November, I still have time to finish my gardening and to go into the woods to collect the evergreens and the wild berries that I will be using for holiday decorations.
I provide flowers for church year-round and therefore grow lots to dry to use in the winter. But Christmas is always on my mind, and so I particularly enjoy harvesting the allium seed pods because they look like stars. And I grow lots of hot colors like the straw flowers that did so well this year and the red gomphrena. The statice I like to grow in all different colors so that I can have a choice what to use in the winter. All of these flowers, when I harvest them, get hung on my light cart to dry. So the light cart, which starts all of these as seedlings in the spring, ends as the place to hang them. I'm cutting some staghorn sumac.
Mark.
I'm cutting winterberry, our native holly. It is in this wet area that's hard to get, and we're wearing orange so we don't get shot during hunting season.
Jeez.
These hips are from the pillar rose in my garden. I'm going to remove the thorns so that they're easier to use to decorate the wreaths. Maine is a pine tree state, but we have lots of balsam firs too, and they are what make terrific Christmas trees. Many people grow them for harvest, but I like my trees to be wild. Balsam fir grows wild in these woods, and I'll be in soon to cut it for making wreaths and for the outdoor display at church. I love to use the materials that God has given us.
Look at all the trees. Which one should we cut?
Oh, this is heavy. Wow, what's it stuck on? That's a good tips for wreath making, all from the bottom of your Christmas tree. Does that smell good, Caroline? Oh, it's going to be a beauty. Make a wonderful tree that you can look at outside your window. Lovely. Using recycled cardboard, we draw a donut that we cut out. Then we wrap string all the way around it. That string is used to secure the boughs that we push in all the way around to make a wreath. We're done making our wreaths, and the trees are on the garden for the winter. And the wreath is up. The outdoor display is almost set. The men are setting up the outdoor creche. The planters are full of winter berry and fir. The wreaths on the door are decorated with rose hips and sumac to match the front doors. We're in the penitential season of Advent with no flowers on the altar. Our only ornamentation is our Advent wreath, which is made, of course, with the fresh balsam. Here are the two vases that will go on the altar for Christmas. And at Christmas, they'll be filled with evergreens and either red berries or red dried flowers, one or the other. We'll perhaps put some poinsettias along this railing. And on the windowsills, we like to put vases with red flowers and evergreens, or possibly red berries. We have a lot of those. Some years we've made extra wreaths to go on up high. I'm not sure if we're going to do that this year or not, but a group of us from the church will get together just a few days before Christmas so that we can be ready for our great celebration. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
And now we head to the nation's capital, where Claire Jones is going to share a very special treat.
Hello, everybody. It is so great to see you. I'm sitting in my office in Maryland, and I want to tell you about my experience decorating at the White House. In the White House, you have to remember, is the people's house, and it's a historic home museum that has curators, butlers, chief ushers, and housekeepers. They're all charged with preserving the collection of fine art and furniture for the official residence of the presidents. And it was a privilege to see all the historic objects that surround you everywhere as you work. And today I want to lead you on a virtual tour of holidays at the White House. And we start by entering at the East Wing and traveling into the staterooms and the ground floor of the White House. And since there is no public tours at this time, here's your chance to see it decorated. No photos are allowed of the in-progress work, only photos of the completed work at the end, when we're all invited by Dr. Jill Biden for a reception to see the decorations that the volunteers worked so hard on. Theme is Gifts from the Heart, and you can see it on the top of all those gifts on the East Wing. And each room has a specific gift that is celebrated. And there's over 100 volunteers from all over the US this year. Anybody can apply, and thousands do. And I have had the chance to be selected for 4 years. And you know, when I filled out my application to be accepted, I think that being a volunteer with Garden Club for over 30 years helped me in being accepted. So we enter the East Wing of the White House, and the first thing you see is the most special thing. And you just saw that. And I know Sherry is having a little trouble with this, but I'm going to forge ahead. And the first thing you see is the Gold Star tree. And the Gold Star tree honors the heroic men and women of our nation's military who have laid down their lives for our country. The Gold Star tree stands in this spot every year, and members of the Gold Star families and military are invited to decorate it with remembrances to their loved ones. And throughout the entire East Colonnade, which is a long hallway, iridescent doves and shooting stars light up the entire hallway with color, representing the peace and light by all our frontline workers. Photos of past and present first families line the hallway, and looking out the window, you can see the clipped topiaries of the garden. Of course, I'm looking out into the garden and seeing what's outside as I'm working. The theme Gifts from the Heart is on display as you enter the East Landing and greet visitors with redecorated white and gold Christmas trees. And walking into the Cross Hall and Grand Foyer, which celebrates the gift of faith and community. There are shimmering snowflakes on the ceiling, and the snow-bedecked trees are decorated with blue, white, and gold balls, and they're surrounded on the floor by illuminated community towns and cities. Glowing candles hang from the ceiling to light up the entire hallway, and we're greeted by a U.S. Marine Band playing carols and Christmas music. So these community silhouettes, or the illuminated ones, were Jill Biden's, or First Lady Jill Biden's idea. She wanted to emphasize that our community got us through the pandemic. Here I am in the Grand Foyer at the end when we're all done, and I'm happy we're done because it's a lot of work. Over a week-long, 8 days of work working on this. There's the illuminated candles. Entering the blue room above the doorway, housing the official White House Fraser fir, it's 18.5 feet, is the presidential seal. This is always the centerpiece of the holiday season, and the Blue Room celebrates the gift of peace and unity, and it features peace doves cascading down the tree with banners embossed with the names of each state. And I spotted my home state of Maryland banner on the tree and admired the matching mantle of giant gold and silver balls with fluttering peace doves. What a mantle. They're all wired together and held up in place. And this is a picture of me in front of the Blue Room mantle that I designed in 2017. And this is the third time that I had decorated there. I love decorating mantles. The East Room represents the gift of gratitude and features this 18th century Neapolitan creche with over 40 carved wood figurines, and is displayed here every holiday season since 1967. And it has these carved wood figures, which are fascinating to get close to. This is the largest room in the White House. The East Room was being set up for the First Lady to thank all the volunteers who put in hours of service, and she gave a short speech on memories of her family Christmases of years past. She personally shook the hand of every volunteer, and we all had an individual photo taken with her. Garlands of handwritten thank you notes that the Bidens had received throughout the year are hung from the trees and the mantle, expressing thoughts of gratitude. And it's intermixed with golden brown and blue ribbon bows and streamers. And these are real notes that the Bidens have received over the past year. Aren't they beautiful? It's just, there is a White House calligrapher that writes these too. All right, so entering the state dining room, this celebrates the gift of family This year, because the Biden family is in residence, family stockings with their 6 grandchildren names on them are hung on the mantle overlooked by Lincoln's portrait. This is where we would eat our White House breakfast and lunch here every day while we worked. For the first time in this room, the trees were hung with photographs of first families, past and present. And I attached many of the bows on the over 400 framed photographs before they were hung, and we had fun identifying all the first families. The gingerbread house is a village this year, always placed on this eagle pier table at one end of the room. It's a masterpiece of icing and gingerbread. It honors our gratitude for the nation's frontline workers and includes 8 detailed replicas of community buildings. It was made with over 55 sheets of gingerbread, 35 pounds of chocolate, 120 pounds of pastillage, and 25 pounds of royal icing. And it weighed over 350 pounds. It's placed with a lot of fanfare on the last day of our decorating. All the volunteers line up and clap when the chief pastry chef comes and puts the finishing touches on it. The Vermeil room just means gilded silver, and the collection is breathtaking. This room celebrates the gift of visual arts, and it's full of bold, colorful paintbrushes, swatches, representing diverse American artists. On the walls are portraits of different first ladies, with Lady Bird Johnson presiding over the mantle of primary colored ornaments. I love the color. This just glows. There's creative paintbrush wreaths are hung in each window. There's the swatches. They were all glued together by volunteers. And there's the creative paintbrush wreaths. And it's one of my favorite decorated rooms. It just glows with colors against the soft gold wall. All right, we're going to the library. Entering the library, the air was aflutter with butterflies as Christmas takes flight. This celebrates the gift of learning and the new and innovative ways that educators found to connect with students through the pandemic. The hundreds of butterflies were cut by hand and used a craft cutting Cricut machine attached to wires to make them appear as if they're in flight. Even the books looked alive with butterflies. These were all individually wired, inserted into the garland and the wreaths, and it really did look like a garden of butterflies. There's also a saber on display in a glass case that was commissioned by French volunteers who fought in the American Revolution. And it was presented to President George Washington. Green room. Oh, the green room, my favorite. And this honored the gift of nature. The green room is an oasis of beauty, tranquility, and healing. We all know about the power of green to heal. I worked here for 3 straight days, first on the purple ornament trees, and then on this mantle, alive with different greens from all over the country. Amaranthus, that's the hanging flower, curly vines, dried mushrooms, and these live Vanda orchids in water tubes. We also made the table arrangements out of curly willow and live orchids, dried grasses. We made hand-tied bouquets for all these items and attached them to the mantle for added texture. So these live orchids in pink and purple were inserted into these tubes, and then we stuck them into the purple trees and mantle to keep them fresh, and they will be renewed as needed. The rosettes of orchids, amaranthus, and fresh cedar greens cascaded out of each of these trees. Aren't they fantastic? Very creative. The red room. This celebrates the gift of the performing arts, and I think you can see why right away with the violins. The red room is favorite to decorate as well. Violins hang from the windows, and you can see the Washington Monument in the distance. And also the brass instruments hang from the mantle along with ballet slippers, tap shoes, and musical notes dance around the tree. Ballet shoes stuffed with berries and greens even hung from the trees. Fittingly, red cranberries are always featured in this room, a tradition that began in 1975. Sometimes with trees, sometimes with wreaths or ornaments. And this year, the cranberry topiaries are placed on top of trumpets on a side table. Look at those ballet slippers. And there's the cranberry trees on top of trumpets. I thought that was very creative. All right, we're going to the China room. This is our last room on the tour. And this celebrates the gift of friendship and sharing. The China room symbolizes gathering around the dinner table. The room contains one of my personal favorite portraits of First Lady Grace Coolidge. Look her up. She was a fascinating woman. And a garden of flowers is displayed in clear vases down the table and on the mantle that overflows with color and texture. The presidential china is on the tables from former President Obama. And one of my favorite decorated rooms, it looked like a blooming garden. The chairs have wreaths of intertwined hands, symbolizing friendship and fellowship. And a little known secret, the gingerbread house is put together here by the pastry chef and team while we work at decorating, because there's not enough room to do it in their very small kitchen. So meet Clarence. Turns out this is the personal butler of President Biden. He's a really nice guy. And I met him at the end at the reception. And last but not least, this is my daughter, Laura, and she was a guest at the reception in 2015 when we were allowed to bring guests. And the reception, it concludes all our work, and it's a big party with lots of people, good food, good drink, and we all have a good time. So I hope you enjoyed this tour as much as I did presenting it. Happy holidays. And if you want to go to my blog, The Garden Diaries, you can read more about my experiences doing this every year. Thank you, Sherry. Take it away.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you, Sherry. And Claire, I just want to say the audience is going crazy over your talent, your artistry, your uniqueness. We're getting a ton of questions, and we'll either save those till the end or we'll let you answer them in the chat itself, because everybody wants to know who designed it, what did they come up with, et cetera, et cetera. So moving on, because I know we're way behind time, I want to introduce you to one of the oldest garden clubs in America and one of the largest. It's in my hometown, Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston is known for its gorgeous and beautiful history. And our largest garden club, the Garden Club of Charleston, designs, decorates, and hosts a giant Christmas tea at the Joseph Manigault House. Joseph Manigault is a historical figure. You can look him up and you're going to see all about the behind the scenes. While Sherry is queuing up the video, I just want to give you a little background. Garden Club of Charleston is 425 members strong with a very long waiting list. Each year, all the new members, called provisionals, get to decorate the stairway of the Joseph Manigault House. With a $2,500 budget, about 10 days of labor, 30 provisional members, 50 veteran members, 50% of the greenery here is hand grown or brought in locally. 500 plus feet of garland is purchased, and it takes about 30 to 48 hours worth of work. This started all the way back in 1941, and every year it takes about 6 months in the planning. So Sherry, would you like to share with us this beautiful video from the Garden Club of Charleston, which can also be found on their YouTube channel?
The Garden Club declared the Manigo Garden a project for restoration, and they devoted their proceeds from their fundraiser that year to restoration of the garden, which was completed 2 years later. And the Garden Club has maintained it ever since. And it's just been such a great relationship and has really done so much for the museum over the years to have the Garden Club involved.
we're going to go all the way across the country to the bright and sunny valley of New Mexico, where Susie Andrago, for those of you who know her from our social media group, took an extra week out of her busy holiday schedule to film some amazing how-tos about what they do in New Mexico to bring the season up to snuff. Each fall, you will see all across the Southwest these hanging strings of red hot chili peppers. Those are called ristas. Now, ristas can be hung with garlic or onion or chili pepper or any variety of vegetables that have some kind of a stem to attach. But here to show you just how special they are and how much they become as part of the holiday tradition, they are quintessentially holidays in the Southwest. Sherry, do you have that video?
I'm going to start off with this cording that is used to wrap hay bales here in New Mexico, and you can buy this by the bale, but we're recycling it. So we're going to make a reester that's a little bit over a foot, and we're going to measure out the length of our arms here, okay, plus just a little tiny bit more, and then we're going to cut it and tie a knot in the end. And in this frame I have a nail. Pull it real tight, and this cord is got plastic, so it's really strong. So we're going to hang it right up here on that nail, and then we're going to need one more piece of that. So we're going to take another one here. We might need to make a couple of these, but we're going to take and thin it out to maybe 2 or 3 strands and pull it. We just unwind it until it thins out. And like I said, we might have to do this a time or two to get the results that we want. So now that we have this thin piece of string, we're going to tie it down here at the bottom, make a little bit of a loop, and to start our chili
Across and tuck.
it looks like this, okay? So we're going to start off, we're going to have this little loop here. We're going to put 1, 2, 3. And we're going to just put them down here like this, and then we'll take the string, we're going to wrap it around here, 1, 2, and then we'll take the string and put it through this loop like this, okay? And then we're gonna put the other part of the string through that loop, and we're gonna pull it down, and that's our first set of chilies.
So we'll go to the next one now. You can do them one at a time or three at a time. So we're gonna see where there's kind of a little opening there. We'll do 1, 2, 3. We have 3 of them on there, and so we're gonna wrap it around again, tight. Put it through here. Take your string around here, make your little loop, pull it down. Now they dry like this, and then people use these for their chili after they're dried out. They can just pull them off and dry them. So there's 3
For food chili.
for food chili.
So you're going around the top of the stem.
Well, I'm making sure that I catch all of those 3 stems that are there. That I'm making sure that they're all in line. And see, then I'm going to open this up. I'm going to pull this through like we're making a quilt or something. And I'm going to push this through here, come down, make a knot, pull it down. Okay? These are actually going on pretty nice, as dry as they are. Here. This is the very last batch of chili for the year. See the area there? Push this through here. There's your loop. Pull it down. So each one of them, see, you're starting to see the shape of it there? Here we go again. We're going to put it through the loop. Pull it down.
How many of these have you made this year?
I made 17 at the garden center, and we sold all 17 faster than we could make them. And that was when they were fresh. It was the first cutting of chili, and they were big and plump and full and fresh. And now these are a little bit drier. But this is something that people really enjoy, and some people put the raffia on top of the chili, and some people put big fall bows on them. It just depends on, you know.
So you're going to continue those on up, right?
We're going to continue these on up until we get our desired length here.
Sure.
So to top it off, a lot of people like to use raffia on the top, but you know, sometimes you run out of raffia, and other people, instead of you putting the raffia on, would like to put a bow on it, a fall bow. So here's what it looks like if you put a big fall bow on. Let me see if I can get that attached. So it just depends on what you like. And so now you can see these chilies are kind of, you know, they're getting a little bit dried out, and when they dry further, then we can, you know, pick the pods off and make the red chili sauce. And we would make it with no seeds and none of the seeds or peeling or anything like that in it, you know.
Thank you.
Okay, there you are.
Yes, ideally you should wear gloves when you do this, but for those in New Mexico, they are used to working with these products and eating these products almost daily. So you build up a tolerance. So you definitely don't want to touch your face or your eyes or anything that would lead to disaster. I know I can't handle it. And Donna Donnelly, our third vice president, is saying, nope, now I'm going to have Mexican food for dinner. So I hope you'd have some beautiful chili pepper in there and some really delicious red paste. Okay, up next, I believe we have Back to you, Sherry, or do we go to our international?
International is up next.
Okay. All right. Well, a big thank you to Shirley and Susie in New Mexico for bringing us a little bit of Southwest style for the holiday season. Up next, we have Diana Dodd McGibbon, and she is zooming in live from Uruguay. She lives sometimes in Uruguay and sometimes in Argentina, but today you are coming to us live from Uruguay. Diana, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you, and you're going to give us an amazing demonstration and presentation on the international tablescapes that we referenced earlier. Now, I believe this is just a little bit of a preview. Is that so? Okay, well, take it away.
Sorry. I just wanted to thank Trish and Cherie very much for this wonderful opportunity to join you all in our holiday celebrations. I was absolutely blown away by all the things that I've seen before my appearance, and especially the White House. It was just so unusual and absolutely a wonderful opportunity to see those wonderful things, as well as that beautiful house decorated in Charleston and the ristas from New Mexico. It's all been a magnificent experience. So now it's my turn to introduce you to what Christmas is like in what we call the Southern Cone, which is the southernmost part of South America. This is a prelude of what you will be seeing on Saturday the 18th. There's going to be a demonstration, and it's going to be posted on Facebook, of different decorated trees. But I just wanted to set the scene for you. So here we go. Okay, Christmas in the Southern Cone. By Southern Cone, I mean Argentina and Uruguay, which are the two countries that I jump from one to the other. One thing about our Christmas is this: it's hot. As you know, Argentina and Uruguay and a lot of South American countries are south of the equator, so our seasons are inverted. So while you are freezing, we are at 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. This is our typical temperature around Christmas time. So a vision of Santa Claus cooling himself by the beachside is more typical in our way of thinking than amongst the snow. And hence, we might have a sandman, but we will never have a snowman at Christmas time. And in the Northern Hemisphere, we generally tend to see Christmas decorations, though Claire Jones showed us very different ideas, but generally Christmas decorations are in warm tones because you're cold and it gives a cozy atmosphere. In our countries, it doesn't. So we generally, not always, but very often, tend to decorate in cool colors. This is a close-up of a Christmas tree in one of our shopping malls here in Punta del Este. As you can see, the colors are blue and white. And funnily enough, as I was thinking about this talk, I suddenly realized that the Christmas tree is also a cone, the same as our Southern Cone. And it's not an accident that the colors chosen by the mall also happen to be the colors of our national flags of Uruguay and Argentina, which, as you know, the patriotic colors always give rise to a warm emotional feeling of belonging. So One of the most important differences with you lot is you celebrate the 25th at some time during the day, either a lunch or an early dinner or dinner. We don't. The 25th doesn't exist. It exists as a holiday, but it's never celebrated. What is celebrated is the 24th, and the 24th at night. So Christmas Eve is the big, big family celebration. Because children are expected to stay awake for these celebrations and the opening of presents, which happens after midnight, they have to sleep siestas, little naps during the day to get enough strength up to put up with the long night revelry. This is my Christmas. I start off my Christmas at my local church. The ceremony, which traditionally used to be at midnight, a midnight mass, called in Spanish La Misa de Gallo, which means the cockerels or the cock's mass, because it was the first one at the beginning of Christmas Day, now in fact is held at about 7:30 or 8 in the evening, giving time for people to go to church, celebrate Christ's birth, and then move on to their family parties. So this is my church, and these are the surroundings of the church. I live in a gated community, and a lot of it has not yet been developed. So this idea of rather wild surroundings really lends itself to the idea of while shepherds watch their flocks by night. But in fact, it's a suburb of the great city of Buenos Aires. From the inside of the church, the back panel behind the altar is a huge glass wall where you can see the landscape outside. And as the service carries on, the lights start to be lit inside the church and outside, giving a sort of magical idea to the concept of Christmas. Little boys and little girls attend Mass because this is a family thing, and usually they do it in very casual clothes, in light colors. And I must say, the little tots look absolutely angelical. I'm sure they're not, but they do look adorable. And exactly the same thing happens with the little girls in their delightful little white dresses or pastel shade dresses. And again, they look absolutely angelic. We get a very good chance to see these children during the Mass because in the church there is a nativity scene. Now I want you to look closely at this nativity scene because there's something missing. I'll close up with another image so you can see exactly what it is. The manger is empty. And at one moment of the Mass, the priest walks into the church holding the image of the baby Jesus, and all the little children that are participating of the Mass follow him and go in with him to accompany him to lay the image of baby Jesus in the manger. And with that, the formal Christmas celebrations begin. As we leave the church, the bells are ringing, symbolizing the beginning of Christmas, even though it's still about 4 or 5 hours off. And everybody wishes themselves and others and families a very happy Christmas. And they go on to their family dinner. Now, to give you an idea of these family dinners, I have taken advantage of a floral design show that was held at the airport of Carrasco in Montevideo. The top floor was given over to this monumental flower show where the only things that were exhibited were Christmas tables. And so I'm going to show you a few of those. You remember I mentioned that we tend to go for cool colors. Well, you'll notice that here we have a warm one, we have red, but it's tempered with an awful lot of white. And underneath the plates, you will find mirrored circles, which also help to reflect the light and give a cool idea. They may also be an informal table like this with calla lilies, with different types of tiny little cones, or as it is in this case, they're liquid amber fruits and a little bit of greenery, like some kind of fir, and the calla lilies are typical of this time of the year. So this sort of cool idea is very typical. I want you to notice that the placemats are surrounded by natural ivy leaves. This is something that grows very well here and is a typical way of showing a Christmas table. We know it's a Christmas table because the napkin rings, if you notice, are tiny little corncob angels. Another color or colors that are very commonly used in this part of the world are neutral tones, like this one, where you will have a simple table decorated in white and beige tones with some gorgeous succulents just to add a little bit of tone. Here you can see a close-up of the table decoration. When you go back to your home, you will find that this is a preview of what you will be seeing on the 18th. It's one of the table designs that is included in the show. And you have this magnificent buffet table setting set out in the gardens. It's normal to actually replicate in some way the colors that are in the garden or the plants and flowers that you cultivate. In this case, the roses came from this person's garden. So this is how you set up your table. You'll notice that the pinks and reds are also here by the pool. And of course, the green surroundings are impressive. This table decoration is practically a duo because if you look at it from the other side, it's white. Why is this? Because as it gets darker and people start eating and celebrating, the lights dim. And as you know, white colors are the ones that are most seen. This is another example of a white Christmas table. If it weren't for the Christmas decorations in gold and silver, everything would be white. But what I particularly want you to notice is how cleverly in this informal table setting, the designer has used different kinds of candlesticks and different colored candles in it, and how exquisite it looks. So I don't want you to miss our post on Facebook on Saturday the 18th, which will be showcasing many more of these Christmas tables. It's been an absolute joy sharing this time with you, and I take the opportunity to say that not only will you be seeing tables from Uruguay and Argentina on the 18th, but from all the Americas. So from Mexico down, all the countries, or a lot of them, are represented. So please don't miss our super show. Thank you very much for allowing me to share this time with you all.
Thank you, Diana. And share out on own membership chair member, Gail Corley-Manna. Gail, would you like to unmute yourself and come on and give us the invitation for next month? But don't go away, because before you hang up, we have a special surprise for you. Gail?
All righty, thank you. It's been a wonderful program. And as Tricia said, I want to invite you to the January Monday member meeting. And as you know, we must always be marketing our garden clubs for new members. That's just a given. We all know that. But another important aspect to keep in mind is maintaining members' interest and keeping them connected. So retaining our members and our clubs. We will be talking about this subject, retention, in depth at that January Membership Monday Zoom event. We will be discussing why leadership by and for your membership is so important. Also discussing investing through mentorship and workshop training, why education is such a key, plus why knowing the knowledge level and interest of your membership is so vital. Then finally, understanding that the most important key to retention is keeping garden club events fun and full of interest. So mark those calendars, Membership Monday, January 10th, 2 p.m. for the important topic on retention. And I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and continue to enjoy our programs today. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. And remember, that's 2 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're zooming in from anywhere else in the country, all of our NGC events and all of the invitations always use a standard of Eastern time. That's just because it was one way that we can set it so that it's uniform, so that we never have to worry, is it Pacific time, Central, which country, where am I? We all travel, but we keep a standard of Eastern time. So again, Gail, I'm really excited to hear what you have to share. I'll be sharing a few things